the number one thing that people can do to get that mature buck in range to harvest?
You've heard people say this, I ain't never seen a buck there and seen a buck cross that thing or something like this. Don't be scared of that where there's nothing happening.
Now that we've covered all this in the last 2 episodes, I'm thinking, well, duh.
That's why that spot
That's
works.
why that spot works.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
If you're wanting to shoot a mature buck, let multiple deer go by.
Can I lob a potential controversial question at you?
Yes.
Moon phases.
This is gonna crack you up. What I'm trying to find is that.
Welcome back to the Ozark podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Veet, joined as always by co-host of the show and my good buddy, Kyle Plunkett.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Man, we're back. Week 2.
That's right.
Of all things deer hunting.
That's right.
And if you're listening to this one, which I guess you are since you're hearing our voice, we are right in the money when it comes to, the time to be in the woods. So
That's right. Yeah.
Excited to get this one to y'all.
Brian, we're back with Brian Slane on this episode. And if you joined us last week, you know this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
And so we're going to continue. What we did last week was we touched on how Brian predicted the day that he was going to kill this 150-inch deer, and how not just that one, he's done that a couple times, and he's got a whole wall of big, mature Ozark deer to prove he knows what he's doing. So we unpacked his system on the last one. And so now, as we pick up this episode, we're going to be diving into how do you capitalize on that system? How do you actually, the fundamentals of diving into the tactics and the strategies that you employ when you're out there in the woods. So that's where we're going to go. So let me just ask you this. What is the number one thing that people can do or should know to get that mature buck in range to harvest?
You have to look at the forecast. The weather forecast is key. If I don't know that weather and what it's going to do that day, I just will be in the dark. Because I'm not going to ever figure out where to even hunt on a new area, and I'm sure not going to be able to understand why that buck went through that camera and where to predict where he's going to go through the next time he goes through that same side on that same rub line.
Mm-hmm.
I have to know the weather. The weather is very key. Forecast is very key. Look for wind switches. They seem to be more predictable on killing a mature buck than a thermal switch to me. That's what seems to when I've killed them, or I take somebody to kill them. That's when it is.
So the weather doing, that's your starting point.
Weatherman is very much the starting point.
Okay. Can I lob a potential controversial question at you?
Yes.
Here we go. Moon phases.
What?
It was lobbed and threw it, and you caught it.
I didn't see. I didn't catch. I missed that.
Moon phases, because you'll hear like people swear by them. With the same degree of, I swear by my system as much as you would a wind vortex or a thermal wind switch or something like that. Do you factor that in?
No.
Okay.
And
just that simple.
I don't.
And that's on the apps. That's on the Moultrie apps. That's on the deer predictors. Like that's part of. That's deer.
I'm sure they do. I've never looked at one.
text.
I have no desire to, and I'm not saying they don't work. So if people are doing that and they're being successful, there's more than one way to kill a buck. I mean,
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, if they're having success at that, and maybe it's something that they might use into their system, if that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be open-minded about that and say that it don't work.
Yeah.
Because if it does something it truly does, and maybe this might help them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And saying, well, crap, my moon phase has already told me that this is when they're going to move, and I guess, and this is when they're going to be a weather switch. Well, I know where a rub line is.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalize, maximize.
Yeah. But for you, it's wind. It's the weather.
For me, it's the weather.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I need to know that. I need to know how to hunt that day.
Mm-hmm.
That next day.
Mm-hmm.
The next day.
So will you? I'm assuming the answer is going to be yes, but you'll actually pick spots based on the weather. Like you're probably not going to hunt here if you don't have the right weather. You're going to hunt a different place.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can bounce around. I can look at my map. I set that up before I ever leave the house.
Right.
Especially on a government hunt where, pressure of hunters, especially in gun season, even sometimes in bow season, especially closer to what I have noticed more so in the last 5-6 years when I government hunt. The closer I get with a bow and it's gun season, the campers, golly, and them guys are out there scouting and doing more than what a gun hunter does almost. They're traveling more than a gun hunter will. And I've seen the deer actually change a little bit, and hide more, go on the back sides of things, and sometimes even more blow up on certain cameras. So, yeah, it can help you just as much.
Yeah. So you're looking at the weather. You're looking for wind speed. You're looking at wind direction. You're looking at temperatures. Is temperature a big factor for you? I mean, are you hunting? I know in your system you didn't really mention a whole lot about cold fronts or anything like that.
No. Well, obviously, when it swaps around from south to north, that's obviously a cold front.
Yeah.
And it may be just and sometimes that's a flash, man. It just comes around there like that and goes right back. And that's always a thing. No, temperature doesn't matter. Thermals still do the same. It doesn't change anything on a thermal switch. And when it's temperature, I don't guess I've ever really thought about that being, just maybe make me dress warmer.
Your system really is the thermals or the wind is changing, and that's what you're looking for.
What I'm looking for.
I mean, it keeps it simple, and you figured it out. So
vortex, find that vortex and hunting that vortex. Yes.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk stand placement then on the just knowing. So you start with the weather. Let's pretend you've woken up. It's a Saturday morning. It's before daylight. Because you're not going to get it out there before daylight, apparently.
Right. No, that is not going to happen.
You're checking the weather, man, checking your phone, looking at the weather app, whatever. Walk me through your next, let's call it 7 hours.
With and let's just say I've never been to this place.
Yeah, I like that. Never been.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to obviously map it out. I know that the wind's going to be a south wind, so I'm going to hunt a north face slope for that day. I'm going to probably go down that side of that hill on the winded side. And wait for the wind, the thermals to change. I'm going to sneak over the hill as it goes, and it's going to be, I'm going to guess, I want to say this, 9:30, 10 o'clock before I get to where I'm going.
That's so late. It's so.
You're like, everybody's going home. What are you doing?
That's when people, like most people, are thinking about hopping down.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I get it. I totally understand. Even I hear the gunshots stop.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. That's a fact. So I'm going to that. I'm going to find where I see the rub line is. I know the miles per hour, how far down on the rub line I probably need to go. And if I've got a gun in my hand, let's just say I've got a gun in my hand, I'm going to probably get where I can see a little bit. And I'm going to go higher than the wind. I'm still going to hunt it just like I would with the bow. I'm going to go higher than I'm going to get up in the wind. Up in the predominant wind, the predicted wind that day. Let's just say it's a south wind. So I'm going to get up in that predicted wind and let that airspace between me and that deer. And that way you can let multiple deer go by. There's more to that than just getting in place of that deer. If you're wanting to shoot a mature buck or, even whatever, a bighorn buck, let's say, you kind of got to sometimes, and you have to let a lot of them go. I mean, I don't know how many bucks I pass up. So that's what I'm going to do on a stand placement day. Get up in that, on the wind like that, and in the above the vortex on a rub line.
And if you're on government land or public land, a place that you're maybe going in for the first time with a gun on a day like that, there's also I might be wrong. I'm assuming. Is there a good chance you're bringing in your rattling antlers? You're making racket. You're moving around.
I will move. I will take my rattling horns. A lot of times when I do hunt these rub lines, I do not rattle. I don't. I love to rattle on the ground. It's more realistic. I have killed them out of a tree, but that's really not what I think sometimes though, and the reason that I don't is because a lot of these bucks that you're looking at behind me and other ones and other people have killed have been alone. He's traveling alone. So I'm wondering if actually truly, if he's wanting to be around somebody, he's just moving position. The thermal hub quit and it's time to move and he wants to go somewhere else or whatever and stuff in a situation like that. So that's kind of what I think. But I don't know. I'm not saying don't rattle or do rattle, but I don't know that I would in that situation.
Yeah. You might if you're, I don't know, over an obvious food
These
source and there's been a bunch of doe around and
So
it's the peak chasing time of the rut and you're just trying to create something to happen. But if
So these hunts, here's what's interesting about this is you can go out and watch a field in the morning and watch, and this is what I do. I actually do exactly this. You're asking me about when I leave and go to this tree stand placement. Before I normally I go and watch the edge of a big woods or open woods, let's say, or a field edge. And what I'm looking for, this is gonna crack you up. What I'm trying to find, and that buck right there is one of them that come from this method. What I'm trying to find is that little bitty spike or 4-pointer or 6-pointer early in the morning, and leaving a spot, a woodlot, a something. That's what I'm looking for. He is leaving that. Because early in the morning, them mature bucks, what happens is them bucks will chase them does around. And what he is trying to do, and is, can you see this right here? Can everybody YouTuber see this part right here?
Let me see. Hold on.
Can I show this? Can I do some kind of something? Can you see this?
Yeah, they can see it.
You can see this.
Yep.
Right here.
perfect.
Yeah.
So let me show you what exactly I'm looking for on a rut hunt that you have been going to your tree stand and you've not been seeing any deer, or I have been going to my tree stand and I've not been seeing anything around these. And I used to do this. I've not been seeing anything around that old scraping, them rubs and this and that and yada, yada, yada. This is what I look for in today's age. I am looking for that little buck that's leaving. We're going to call this a fence row.
Okay.
This is a road.
Okay.
We're gonna look for, and this be a big woods right here.
Open, not very thick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. This is a big woods on this side of the fence row. What you're gonna look for, and we're gonna call this a road, and this over here on this side of it is huge. It's big. It's a quarter to a half mile of nothing but openness. Go in the wind is this way. So it's a setup. I do this at night. I do this in the evening time. I'm like, here's the wind. It's going to be this in the morning. It's going to be doing this. The bucks are sharp. Man, they're sharp. They know exactly how to set these does up. And what he's doing is he's going to set that. He's going to go down this as far as he can. Even I don't care if it's a 4-lane highway. It doesn't matter to him. That's what he wants. What he's trying to do is get her downwind of everything, and if anything was this way, it would be a miracle to find this doe. He don't want no competition. So the key is, what I'm doing is, I do this, I'll guilty or whatever you want to call it, drive around. I drive some of these county roads where I know these setups are, and I'm looking for that little spike, that little 4-pointer. And what he's doing is he's leaving that situation, and he's going to get where he can see this. Is what he's doing. And this deer, I've killed 2 of them like this, exactly like I seen him do this setup, and I went to work and came back and killed the deer. Yeah. Like, I had to go to work.
Yeah.
I had to go to work, and I come back, and I remember one time I said, well, I just don't think he's going to get up because he don't want no other bucks finder. I kept saying this. And at this time, I was 26 years old. I said, he don't want to get up. He won't get up. He'll still be there. And he was an 11-point buck, and I killed him. Man. He was in a cow pasture, and it was a valley that run up the hill like this. And that far end of it went all the way into Arkansas. It was a big field. It just kept going, went into Arkansas. And that deer, there was no other buck that could have found them, is what it was. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen them, obviously. Everybody's probably seen a buck take a doe out in the middle of a field, lay her down.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea is not person. I don't think it's got anything to do with people. I think that we think it's people. My hands, but I think we think it's people that they're scared of and that they're running from and they're going away from. But I think truly is he just don't want any competition. He's tired of having to fight these bucks off or do whatever. And I'm not saying he's fighting them off, but he wants her to himself,
Yeah.
So that, when I'm saying this, is look during the rut, look for these little bucks. They matter. They mean something. They're not there for no reason. Every daggum one of them want to breed. I don't care if he's a spike or what. And they do. They actually will breed. So don't dismiss that as being just a 6-pointer.
So if you're sitting there and you're looking at, let's call it big open woods, and a little 4-point buck is there in the morning and he starts going somewhere,
going away from,
what is happening in your head and what's your next step?
What's happening in my head is typically I glass that dude. I mean, I'm looking him over like everything, and I am looking to see if he'll ever look back. If he'll ever look back, 9 times out of 10 that other buck is standing there. And I've seen this. I seen it last year. Actually, that 150 buck, I actually had a 9-pointer with a doe laying right beside me. And he actually seen me belly crawling. He sees me. He's like, and this deer had it made. There was no other buck probably going to ever find this doe. He put her right next to the road, right in this little corner of this thing. And I'm like, he's safe as could be. Cars driving by him, and I'm like, you could see him. Yeah, that's what when he sees me, he takes off. He goes at me, and then he takes off running, whatever. But that's the scenario that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So if he's looking back, you're going to be looking back to where he was looking. Like there's some wisdom in maybe going the head towards the direction the small bucks are coming from.
Yes.
During the rut to find the big bucks because they're keeping those does penned up.
And then, and I think that's what everybody says is lockdown. Maybe they call this lockdown. Maybe they don't understand what it is, and maybe I don't either. I'm wondering if that ain't what people are naming this as lockdown or whatever, because, and it has. I've killed 2 of them like this, and it was all day long. And the one of them, I walked up the ditch, and I was sitting there throwing rocks until the doe stood up, and then he stood up, and I killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So
it sounds like what people are calling lockdown.
Yeah.
Little bucks are running around. The big bucks are nowhere to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's November 9th or whatever, and you're like, where did the big deer that I've been seeing running around, where did they go?
Yeah.
They're somewhere safe with a doe.
Yep. But know that she's making tracks on the ground, and everybody knows that, and know that they all want to breed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very key to know that when it's rut, every deer matters.
Mm-hmm.
Every horned deer matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about you got next on the list is the approach. What is this for you? Is this your approach into the spot? Is this how you cover your scent? What is this?
Yeah. If I'm never going back, I don't use any kind of cover up scent. Even and sometimes in a thermal hunt, I don't, and sometimes in a vortex hunt, I don't. In a wind switch, I don't really mess with it as much. Depends on how much. If I'm never going back, I'm not worried about it because 9 times out of 10 you're probably safe. But you can do things to prevent it. If I'm going back to that tree stand, my approach is going to be I am going to set up all my. I have my boots that are in bags. Never touched a truck in the day in their life. They've been in a bag wrapped with leaves and stuff like this, and that's all. That's going to be my approach for that day. I'm very deliberate about my scent control on that. I take this stuff that we make, and I definitely cover my stuff, my tracks.
You can tell us what you use.
Yeah. What's the name of your stuff?
It's called Sense of Surroundings.
Sense of Surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it, and why did you make it?
So back in 2000, I was kind of tired of getting you couldn't go in and back out without them, because when the lights go out, bucks go everywhere, and they were finding out. I felt like they were not daylighting on my stuff, my cameras, because of going in there after I did. So they are scared, so they would just not go in there during the daylight. And so I wanted everything I could to protect my feet. It seemed like it was my feet. And I wanted something try to offset this scent that we pack around as humans. So I make this stuff. I call it sense of surroundings. It goes into, we have different ones, and obviously it's just like what you would think, the sense of your surroundings or his surroundings, where you're going to hunt. We make it for walnut, cedar, oak, corn, soybeans, where you want to hunt. I killed a deer just a week ago using corn in a cornfield, shot him 15 yards.
On the ground?
On the ground.
You were on the ground?
So this is very powerful, and it's a process that I do, and it's a product that we make. And I think I told you, if we were on a spaceship, should I tell you again?
You were not going to tell us how you make it.
That's what it pretty much boils down to.
Yeah. I just told him, I said, hey, look, if we was on a spaceship going to Pluto and Elon Musk paid for the ticket and it was a one-way ticket and we got halfway, I still wouldn't tell you. That's exactly what I said.
But it's smelling like the woods you're hunting. And so your approach on, let's call it government land or public land, and you're going to be covering ground, hunting new stuff, whatever. You're going in to hunt, and it all the cover, all the product, all the whatever, no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're going to a stand that you hunt year after year, spot after spot, or kind of even core area after core area, you are trying your best.
Oh yes, I'm doing everything
approach
I can.
Totally differently.
My clothes, I get there, I strip off. You've heard people do this. I'm that guy when it comes to my tree stand. My 2 tree stands, I put a tree stand on each side of the ridge so I can hunt a north or south. And I think I got into that a little bit, that it hunt the predominant wind.
Yes.
thing. So I do the north and the south tree stand on the rub line. So yeah, you got to know what that does too in your approach. On a mature buck, he's not over there. He's going to be on the other side of the hill. So you know how you can get into there. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of strange in my head because I'm sitting here going underneath a tree stand because I'm going underneath a tree stand, and I'm looking up thinking I'm going across this ridge when it gets when this thermal gets right. And I'm standing underneath a tree stand that I may have just shot a deer out of, but I'm going to hunt the other side.
Yeah.
And that's why your stand placement matters. That's key too. I used to think stand placement, and you'd hear on other sides of a rub line, and I would think that those stands might be 50 yards apart because of how the wind might play. And it could be, but it's really like what the wind and thermal is doing on different mountainsides. We hunt deep hills and hollers around here in the Ozarks, and so you really need a north side and a south side.
Yes.
That's what they mean by the right wind for the hunt and that kind of thing, rather than, I have a field and I have a stand on this side of the field and that side of the field.
Right.
Which it could be that. I'm not saying it couldn't be, but the stand placement there, that's important. And I'm glad to know that that's finally clicking in my head, because I don't hang stands that live there. I go pretty mobile. Like I do sticks and a saddle and that kind of deal. So I've had to, I don't think about that as much. It's easy just to go to one side of the hill and go do it. But that helps me think about where I'm putting up my stand or where I'm hanging my saddle for my approach on that day.
Yeah.
Because now I'm educated
it's almost
on
backwards
the
what
vortex
you was
and the wind
probably
and,
taught. Almost backwards what you was probably taught. Go down there and get the wind in your face. And honestly, on a rut hunt, might not be a bad idea. You don't want to tip off the does, and stuff like this, because a rut hunt, a doe is liable to go who knows where, and especially chaos happens and they do some crazy things. So yeah, in a sense, sometimes I think that maybe hunting with the wind in your favor, I can't even fathom doing that, but looking down that side of the wind's hit me in the face and it's really going like that. I'm like, what in the world? I would have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that.
Yeah.
That's my safety zone. That's my walking safety zone. That's when I'm still hunting, that's how I'm going to approach, because I know he's not there.
Yeah.
I just know he's not there. He's going to not do that.
Yeah.
He wouldn't want to be on that side of the hill.
Let me ask you that. You've mentioned this, and I know we were talking about before we got started recording. How do you know when you should still hunt versus when you should go sit in a tree?
Still hunting to me, it's really not that to me. I just really enjoy still hunting. It is a challenge. Probably one of the biggest challenges next to shooting a turkey with a dadgun bow with no blind. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a super challenge to go still hunt a buck. In reality is the still hunt is to me the hardest part versus the stalk. The still hunting is finding him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have your hands are free and it's one step at a time. I like it better when it's totally dry as a bone. And I know that sounds really backwards.
Yeah.
But you kind of need to hear, and I'd need to hear something walking if there was something of that nature. I really don't want to do that. I'd rather go still hunting when he's on his bed. I don't want him to have to get up. I have actually watched him stand up, lay back down, stand up, lay back down, move 30 feet. That buck right there that I shot, the one I actually watched him lay down. I think he laid down 3 times. One of the times I don't know if I could see him do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of my vision, but I actually got up closer and he laid back down in front of me again. And I've seen that more times than one. I remember. Can I tell this little story?
Of course, we love stories.
So I took my son. We do this where this buck wants to see out into this big open flat, and it's a cedar glade. It's a wall. I mean, a wall. But I know that they climb up this thing. I'd even show you on a map, and I let people hunt wherever I hunt. I don't care. That doesn't mean nothing to me. I'll go somewhere else. And I had still hunted a buck there once before, and he was about a 160 or so. He was a really good 10-pointer, and he got 12, 15 yards from me. And you thought I'd have killed him. I had a gun in my hand. This deer is 15 yards from me. He's standing on the other side of these cedars. I just couldn't shoot him. I didn't feel like I was going to kill that deer. I never felt like I was going to kill him. So I did not shoot. I thought, man, it's so thick. It was so thick, just like this, but I took my son in there and we did this very same thing. And I'll never forget him. He's, Dad. And we sat there and waited on the backside of this to go over top of this.
Right.
And he's like, what's it like now? And this was like at 9 o'clock and we hadn't even started to hunt.
Yeah.
We're still on the backside. I said, okay, let's go. And literally within 10 yards, he goes, Dad, here he comes.
No way.
Yeah. And sure enough, so it's like that on a still hunt deal. It's a little different. That was getting there too quick. That was at 10:30, and it took us to move that 10 yards. It took us probably 20 minutes or so, maybe a little longer, That is not how I normally do it. I don't.
That's slow pace.
It is slow.
That's slow.
Yeah, normally I go. It's even slower than that actually. When I actually still hunt, it's every step. I usually actually wiggle my foot into a position. I've actually seen the deer sitting there looking at him, and moving my foot into position to see if he can hear me, and thinking that hopefully he thinks that's a squirrel.
Yeah. Where are you starting on a still hunt? Because I feel like you normally feel like you have to cover ground before you're into them.
You do.
And then
you do.
You're kind of hunting.
How does
that work?
So when I actually do a still hunt, I look for the preferred bedding. It's usually on a point, the preferred buck bed, and he'll go just below vortex or somewhere's right in there. Is at the end of that point.
Mm-hmm.
And typically he has a barrel roll going to him. So it's a direct downwind, or you know what I'm saying? It's a direct over top of his backwind.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it all the way around him. When that wind wraps around there like this, when it comes up through this, so you got to go into this vision side, which is usually off to the side like that.
Mm-hmm.
I still hunted a buck last year. I killed that 10-pointer over there before I actually, the one on the right, no, it's the one on the left. I killed the one on the left. I killed him in that spot, and I went back to go still hunt, because usually these bucks there'll be another buck there, and it's preferred bedding. It's 100% perfect for this buck to be there, and you can't hardly get close unless he can see you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it right, you went in his vision, because that's what everybody says. He protects his backside with the smell, and he's wanting to see. So you're going in his vision. So this time I went over this thing in this walnut tree top. It fell out of this tree and it was hanging over like this. I binoculared this thing 15 times, looking into it, glassing into it. Did not see this buck's horns, and normally I would. And he let me get, and knowing that I don't know where this deer's at. It'd been different if I knew he was there. But he let me get about 90 yards from him before he had plenty of time. He probably seen me. He probably seen me.
Mm-hmm.
He was gonna, but I'm approaching to this other thing, thinking that this is where I need to be, and he's just barely. But he was, I guess, hidden.
Mm-hmm.
And it's vice versa. He was in the open part of the woods, hidden in that thing.
He felt safe.
He felt very safe,
Yeah.
even though he probably couldn't. I could have smelled some off the side, but it wouldn't have been much. It wouldn't have been much. He was right in. He actually, if you looked at it on my maps, I had it dotted out. That is perfectly in line in the vortex from an east wind, not a north wind, where he was actually at. So it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
It got caught.
Man, I'm not a good still hunter. I want to get better at it, but I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and I was asking, how do you even know kind of where to start? And they were like, well, when you're getting out of your tree stand and you're, tromping back to the cabin or wherever, like, where do you jump up deer? And I automatically started thinking about 5 or 6 different spots and was like, oh yeah, about there. And they were like, yeah, you'd start about there.
Yeah.
Sneak up to those spots because it's the middle of the day, and that's where there were no deer, and then all of a sudden they're standing up and running from you. That's probably where they're going to be. That seems to be preferred bedding, and it's like, oh, that's just, I needed somebody to tell me. So simple. Should have thought about that.
Preferred bedding.
It's probably where they are.
Yeah. Yeah. For bedding, when you think about preferred bedding, like, are mature bucks always going to bed in preferred bedding, and then will you have immature bucks bedding in other places?
I think it matters if there's something there. I think that these bucks, and you guys see this on your trail cameras on these rub lines in the morning time, and I see this as well. When I see these bucks go through my thing, that one of them's going to the perfect spot. The perfect. I'm talking like it's he don't have to look hard. I often wondered if because I've done these still hunts and like doing 2 a day in 5 and 6 days in a row, and a lot of times I go to him and there's not a mature buck in that, or if he is, he's not got very big horns. Let's just say that he's more, a 115-inch buck or something of that nature. So I'm not really sure. I don't know that it's either the numbers are not there or that just that the caliber of that buck is even though he's older, may not be as big when I get there. And a lot of times I stop and just don't shoot, don't do nothing, to turn around, walk out or whatever. I've actually just kept going straight at them before. That's how close I can get. They don't live. Once you start really stomping, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've pondered and thought and strategized in our minds about bedding in the Ozarks. It's like it's something that it feels really obvious in certain places, but in a lot of the Ozarks, it's so monotonous. It's hardwoods. It's just rolling hills. Everything kind of starts to look the same.
Bluff lines and stuff.
It's bluff lines. It's like, man, how would you even start to pick out pieces and parts where this is bedding? Are you sure? Are you so convinced that this would be bedding? And dialing that in and is it's a challenge even for me. Like it still feels like a challenge for me just finding those places.
It's kind of crazy because that's where he's at. 90% of the day.
Yeah,
pretty much. I'm not saying all the time, but in pretty much most of the time they're bedding. They're definitely laying down. Somewhere may move 100 yards, 200 yards even that day, or even more. But definitely they're laying down pretty much.
Yeah.
Brian, let me ask you this from a kind of a tactical, how you go get that mature, big old Ozark whitetail buck standpoint. What have we not covered? What have we missed?
Good question. We've
Well,
covered a lot, so it's like
a whole lot.
what did
in the
we
last-
not?
Yeah,
cover?
what have we missed? What have we
How
not
to-
covered?
what have we missed on killing that big mature buck, like with the gun?
Oh no, sorry. What have we, from a hunter's perspective, not yet covered in conversation?
Oh,
Yeah, my bad. Not if you've missed the deer. What have we in our conversation not covered yet?
You know, I think that you got to keep that buck daylight. And if I go out there, I keep saying you, but if I go out there and I do not take care of my boots, I keep going out there messing these deer up. And if I'm hunting this area, I think that's the hardest. It seems to me you make it harder on yourself. You make it harder than it really is. And by going there time and time again, these cell cameras have relieved you from having to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Trust what you're seeing on your cell cameras. Use that information that you're getting from your cell camera and try to set more cell cams away from that situation, as far away as you possibly think you can, and still have that deer in on your radar, especially for a target buck. And sometimes you're not right. You may be wrong, and I have been. I tried to walk on water the other day, and it didn't work. But I'm saying that use the information that you're getting from your cell cam, and trust that he is going to do this again in that wind at some point, especially a core buck, if you've got a core buck in that area. You know, I drew out some scribbles and stuff, and they do it. They're very prone to do exactly the same thing on the same wind. I predicted it. I've done it more than once. Keep the faith. That's what I would say.
Yeah, don't go in there and
the
just
faith.
mess stuff up unnecessarily.
Yeah,
play the system.
don't make it harder than what it already is. And and if you talk to anybody, the areas that I personally go to myself, I do not hunt with another person. I don't say, hey, you want to go hunt down here at this one? I don't because, and I don't even like it when somebody else is going into that situation. They're going in there cutting wood or, you know, stuff like these things that can change the system. So I mean, I don't know if I should, I just don't do it. I don't buddy hunt. If I'm going to buddy hunt, I'm leaving my bow in the truck. I'm leaving my gun in the truck. And every person that's probably watching this will tell you the very same thing. Brian won't take his gun. Brian won't take his bow. He's going to take you hunting to kill you a deer.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like the youth and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's cool. And is that why I remember you kind of talking about, is that why you started dialing this in? Because you wanted to not just take people on random hunts and like hope we kill a deer, but you actually wanted to get people into it. Yeah,
every person that I've ever taken out there and do this with, I show them exactly what I'm doing. I tell them. I've had other hunters point out, you know, hey, I'm going to hunt this. I remember one kid, his name's Tanner Patton.
Okay.
He wanted me to map out School of the Ozarks for him.
This is Cam's cousin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good kid. Really good kid. Smarter than me. Anyway, he was at School of the Ozarks and got to do the draw and the bow hunting thing and stuff like this. And I mapped it all out for him without even going there. He had a tree stand there, and I had him put his tree stand at a certain spot. And what I got back from that was he seen a 160 out of that tree stand.
Just from looking at a map.
And it's based upon, and it was based upon predictability of how a deer is going to travel with that wind. So on this map, I could pull it up and show it to you on my TV because I don't really care. I don't care if anybody sees anything that I have on my Onyx. It does not matter to me. I made it to where he could see the north lines, like of a north wind, just like what I showed you on he could see where they're going to travel at and make it really as simple as I can for him. And other Hunters have done this very same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get to where you can do this, and you're going to learn this I learned this as I kept finding rubs, and it didn't matter if there's foiler trail there or what it was, or road up to head of hall. None of that mattered, because it was the predictability of the wind going over the hill, creating that vortex that allowed that deer to travel safely.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. That's and you're gonna. I learned that over time, that I could hunt that and get up above that vortex with a rub line underneath me and kill big bucks, or see big bucks, or see the mature bucks, or
Yeah.
And that it, like I said, I'm not perfect. I get too far away from the bedding area, and that's not good. Or is it? The reason I say that, or is it, because when that thermal hub or that thermal switches over, you've got a little bit of time frame there that happens. It takes him a while to travel up that hill. It takes him a little bit to travel into that, to get into that right spot. If you're too close to bedding, that's just that much longer. But if you're too close to where they're feeding at, let's say in that bottom, or he's going into like a high horizontal twig count area, I think it takes some. I think if you get too close to that, obviously that's not good either. So the middle of the road of that, don't be scared that you've heard people say this. I ain't never seen a buck there and killed that thing, or I ain't never seen a buck there and seen a buck cross that thing, or something like this. Yeah, don't be scared of that, where there's nothing happening ever. Like you didn't never see, you didn't visually see any deer going through there. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Because then you know that you can get into that safely, especially if there's rub lines in there, especially in the woods.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what separates a good mountain hunter from just a good deer hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think knowing how the thermals work with the hills and hollers, knowing what the wind's going to do, knowing where they want to be and where they're not going to be, knowing that they're going to treat big woods like a field, especially a big mature buck.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be in real, big, beautiful canopied forest, and it looks
awesome, gorgeous,
but it's going to be the edges they want to be in. You're watching for the small bucks and where they're going. All this stuff, I'm just trying to recap. It's helping put pieces together for me, and hopefully all of the listeners listening, as to how you hunt deer in the Ozarks and why it's different than South Dakota, where it's just huge and open and you can see for a mile and a half with a spotting scope and sneak up on them. I mean, it's kind of an uptight, in your face, anything can happen at any moment style of hunting that we have around here. Mm-hmm. And I think getting a few of these things we've been covering on your side, whether you're doing it intentionally and you really are thoughtful about it, or you've grown up hunting here and you've just happened into it because where certain spots kind of work for deer, is like, they're necessary keys to, or components to, just becoming a much better deer hunter. There's spots I can think of where, now that we've covered all this in the last 2 episodes, I'm thinking, well, duh.
That's why that spot works.
Why that spot works.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I would have just told you before, it's just been a good buck spot.
Don't know, man. They're just always there.
They just show up there. It makes sense. There's a spot where the 2 biggest deer I've ever killed, they've died in the same area, 2 years apart. But they were different. I mean, one was early October and one was in early November. Mm-hmm. But it makes sense now why that spot is good. Mm-hmm.
What I have noticed, and you see me say mark it on the grid, and the reason I say that's because sometimes they're a long ways apart on these rub lines. They just are. Mm-hmm. There will be a gap 30 yards sometimes, and sometimes it's not, and they just look down the hill and there's a little bitty, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's as big as that or if it's as big as that. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Them bucks are going through there, smelling each other, and they're rubbing, and that's what they're doing. That's just and closer to bed, obviously, you'll start seeing usually a bigger rub, and everybody sees that when you get near a buck's bed. There's usually a rub right there at them, and I mark those, and a lot of those I find during turkey season and stuff like this. I mark those, and I'm thinking I'm going to go back here and I'm going to kill that buck out of his bed. That's just what I do. Or it's not really that. Sometimes it's off a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's never, I don't know if it's ever been right on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It don't seem like to me it is. And I often wonder if that's got something to do with the leaf cover. You know, a canopy on or lower coverage of leaves, and when gun season gets here, everything's shedding or something. I don't normally still hunt with my bow.
Gun.
I took my son one time and I was like, stick your finger in my belt loop, we're gonna go kill a deer, you know. He's like, yeah, right, Dad. And I don't know how old he was. We talked about this the other day because we was saying, what are you gonna talk about? And I was like, yeah, maybe it's that. I'm gonna. And he literally did. Like, you guys stay really close to me like this, you know, and I'm sitting here glassing and going on, and I can show you my glasses. They're really bad. They're really bad. There are, because of glassing. And they're from actually still hunting. All these little marks on them,
Mm-hmm.
that's from glassing. Throwing my binoculars up on my, I ruined the glasses.
You put some miles on those.
So, yeah, and we got up there, and I said, there it is right there, Bubs. And I went like this and showed him. He's like, yeah, now what? And we got like 70 yards to go.
That's a long ways.
2 people. I was like, we're going to get it done. We just kept going. And there were some does bedded on the side of the hill like this. And I said, you ready? I said, she's going to stand up here in just a second. And I remember drawing my bow back and shooting this thing, killing it, and eating it.
That's great,
man. That's awesome.
We eat the thunder out of them. So, yeah. It's very rare, though, for me to do one with a bow hunt.
Yeah.
You know,
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I can't thank you enough for just opening up the doors of your house, the doors of your brain, the pages of your notebook, and as you've pieced all this together over years and years of hunting, just being generous enough to give away this information to help people get into hunting, to learn how to hunt better, and be a more successful Ozark mountain buck hunter. So we appreciate you, man.
Everybody else, we thanks for listening. We hope you're having a successful hunt. We hope you're hunting with some good friends, or maybe you're getting some really good time solo in the woods. Just, you know, a little mental heart reset, kind of out in the cool weather with a gun or a bow. And send this one to a buddy who needs some help killing a big old deer.
That's right.
If you're that buddy who needs help killing a big old deer, listen to it again.
Go back. We covered a lot.
Yeah.
Make sure you digest it all.
And try to take a few key points away, I imagine, and see what you can do with it. So, Brian, really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
And we'll see y'all on the next one.
See you next week.